Hi, fifth grade. Another video here, and we are going to be learning about dividing fractions. I'm going to go over the poster first, and then we'll go from there. So on this poster, you see divide fractions, and there are 3 steps to dividing fractions. The first step is to keep the first fraction. You're going to change the second, or the sign to multiplication from division, and then you're going to flip the second fraction. So it's KCF. KCF is what you're going to remember. And first example is 1/2 divided by 3/4. We keep, we change, we flip. Multiply straight across and get your answers. Our second example is going to be with mixed numbers. And you first have to do the backward circle step by changing that mixed number to an improper fraction. And then you're going to keep, change, and flip, and then change that final answer into a mixed. So we are going to practice some of our backward circle steps because a lot of you have forgotten how to do that. So here are 3 examples of how to do that backward circle step. So remember, you're going to multiply your denominator times your whole number, put the answer up there, add your answer to the numerator, get a new numerator. Remember, the denominator never changes. So you're going to get an improper fraction. Second one, 4 times 5 is 20. Multiply the denominator times the whole number, get an answer, add that answer to the numerator, get a new numerator, which is going to be large, and that denominator never changes. One last one. 7 times 3 is 21. So multiply that denominator times the whole number, add that numerator. We're going to get 22/7. So that's how you're going to get an improper fraction. You need to have those to be able to multiply your fractions. Remember, you never multiply a whole number by anything. When you multiply fractions, you have to have a fraction. So we are going to start with dividing fractions. We're going to practice some of our dividing fractions. Okay? All right. Our first example. Let's look at whole numbers and dividing fractions. So our very first one is going to be 3 divided by 1/2. So example 1, 3 divided by 1/2. You have 3 steps you need to remember. The first step you need to remember is to keep the first fraction. The second step you need to remember is to change the sign. The third step you need to remember is to flip that second fraction. Only the second, always the second, never the first. If you have a whole number, you know you have to put 1 under it. That sign is going to change to multiplication. You are going to flip that fraction over. Why? I don't know. Some guy a long time ago made it up. Once you have this done, you're good to go. You're going to multiply. And our answer is 6. Yeah, that's it. All right, let's try another example. We're going to go with 8 divided by 1/6. You're not always going to have 1. You're going to have some other stuff, but keep, change, flip. The very first thing you need to do is make this a fraction. And we're going to keep that a fraction. Change that division sign to a multiplication. Flip that fraction over. Flip. Multiply straight across, and you get an answer. You're not always going to get a whole number answer. That's just coincidental for the problems that we're doing. All right, here's one that's not going to give us a whole number answer. Let's see what we need to do with this one. The very first thing we need to do is make that 5 a whole number, or a fraction, sorry. You are going to change that division sign to a multiplication, and you are going to flip that second fraction. Always flip the second, never flip the first. That is not what we want. That is super big on top. We need to make this into a mixed number. How many times is 4 going to 45? 11, right? Which is 44, 1 left over. And you're going to get 11 1/4 as your final answer. See, one more like this, and then we're going to move on. Let's go with 6 divided by 5/8. All right, put a 1 under it. Change, keep, change, flip. And again, flips right over. Never the first, always the second. Again, too big on top, got to make this a mixed number. How many times is 5 going to 48? 9 times. How many left over? 3. And we get 9 3/5. Now remember, if you're not sure if this is correct, you can always do the backwards circle step. And those two equal each other, so you know you did it correctly. The next part of dividing is fraction by fraction. Now, because you already have a fraction, you obviously are not going to put 1 under it. You need to keep that fraction. Notice how I'm writing everything right underneath. You know, we like things nice and neat. You don't want something willy-nilly all over the place, okay? Change, flip. Okay, it's called the reciprocal, means it's upside down, okay? So you'll see that word reciprocal, that's what it's called. 28 over 15. How many times is 15 going to 28? Well, 2 times is 30, so 1 time. We need to subtract these. And our answer is 1 13 over 15. One more of these and then we'll go to mixed. Okay, 4/9 divided by 1/12. Again, it's the same concept. You're gonna keep, change, and flip. Keep, change, and flip. Do you have to use an arrow? No, that's for the notes. 48 over 9. Because remember, we're just multiplying straight across. 9 goes into 48. 9 times 5 is 45. 9 times 6 is 54. And again, 3 left over. Ooh, this is a good one. 5 3/9. Not done. Why aren't we done? 3 and 9 have a common factor. You need to divide this by 3. Our final answer, 5 1/3. Super important to reduce those fractions. All right, one last concept, mixed numbers. All right, let's go with 2 1/2 divided by 5/6. Now, you can't do anything with a whole number. You've got to make this into a normal fraction, which means you have to do the backwards circle step. You do not flip that. We don't flip the first, right? We flip the second. So that is going to be an improper. Change your sign, flip your second. Ooh, that's gonna come out evenly. Loving that. And we get 3. All right, let's do another one. 3 1/7. divided by 2 sevens. All right, backward circle step, gotta get that into being a fraction. 22 over 7, change, flip. Yeah, 22 times 7, but you got your handy dandy calculator, right? 22 times 7, 14, 154 over 14. Just get out that handy dandy calculator, right? If you want to figure out what that is, let me get my calculator. And we are going to do 154 divided by 14. It's going to go in 11 times. What? That went in evenly. Now, I'm going to show you something. I don't know if you're going to get it or not, but we're going to see how to make this a little bit easier. See how this is a 7 and this is a 7? They can cross cancel. You're dividing. 7 goes into 7 one time. 7 goes into 7 one time. You have to have a common factor. So then this would be 22 over 2 would be 11. So if you don't want to do that, you don't have to. I'm only going to show a couple times, and it's okay if you don't want to do that. All right, watch this. Let's just go back to multiplication real quick. All of these have common factors crossing each other. 3 and 9 have a common factor of 3. So 3 divided by 3 is 1. 3 divided by 9 is 3. You're simplifying them. 4 and 12 have common factors of 4, okay? So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Now when you multiply, you get 1/9. You don't have to worry about simplifying. You're simplifying ahead of time. Again, if you don't want to worry about it, don't. That was a little commercial. Let's go back to dividing. One more, because the video is getting kind of long. All right, let's do 2 and 8/9. 2 and 8/9. I don't know what that was. Divided by 2/3. Now, the mixed number doesn't have to be first. The mixed number can be second. It doesn't matter. We'll do a mixed number second, if I can find one. Yeah, I'll get you that in a second. All right. 26 over 9, change, flip. 18 on the bottom, 26 times 3 is 78. And then you get out your handy dandy calculator, right? And you do 78 divided by 18. Your whole number is 4, okay? Then you have to multiply 18 times 4. 72. So that's 6, right? Not your final answer. What do we have to do? Simplify that. So we're going to divide by 6. And we're going to get 4 and 1/3. Okay? And with 4 and 1/3, figure out where my problem was that I looked at it. Okay? With 4 and 1/3, that's your final answer. Okay? That one was a little more complicated. Let's see if we simplified this. Watch this. Okay, we got our original. 3 goes into 3 once. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 2 goes into 2 once. 2 goes into 26, 13. 13 over 3. And this would be 3 times 3. 3 times 4 is 12. Boom, 4 and 1/3. So that cross simplifying really, really works. I can post another video about cross simplifying. I'll have to find one for you. last problem. This is a really good one. Not only do you have a whole number that you have to put a 1 under it, your mixed number is second, and you have to flip it. So there's quite a few things you have to do in this. So we're going to do 5 over 1. We're going to change that. Remember, don't flip the first, flip the second. But here we need 30. Now you need to flip that. See that? So we have to change this into an improper, then you have to flip it, okay? So now it's 25 over 33. And that's your answer. Sometimes you're gonna get a normal fraction. It's not gonna be improper. You might not have to change it. A lot of times when you flip the second, that's what happens. All right, hope this helps. Thanks guys, miss ya.